You've been told salt is essential. Your body needs it. It's natural, ancient, even comes in a pretty pink Himalayan variety. But what if your daily dose of this so-called vital mineral is slowly poisoning you from the inside out? What if the real danger isn't the salt you add at the dinner table, but the salt you never even see coming? Let's dive into the controversial, concealed, and often misunderstood truth about salt. First, let's talk about the illusion of essential salt. Yes, sodium chloride is vital. Your body uses it for nerve transmission, muscle function, fluid balance, and nutrient absorption. Without sodium, you would die. But here's the bait and switch. Just because something is essential doesn't mean more is better. Oxygen is essential too, but too much causes oxidative stress. Water is essential, but too much can dilute your electrolytes and lead to a fatal condition called hyponatremia. Salt is no different. The difference between what we need and what we actually consume is absolutely shocking. The truth is, you're not just eating salt. You're drowning in it. The average person needs about 500 milligrams of sodium per day to function. But the average global intake is somewhere between 3,400 and 4,000 milligrams daily. That's 6 to 8 times more than our bodies require. You might think, but I don't add much salt to my food. That's the thing. It's not where most of it is coming from. Over 70% of your sodium intake comes from processed foods. Things like bread, cereal, soups, cheese, deli meats, frozen meals, and especially restaurant dishes. Even that healthy veggie burger or low-fat salad dressing is often loaded with salt to mask the flavor loss from removing fat or sugar. You're not a salt addict. You're a salt hostage, and the food industry is holding the key. Now, what's the hidden impact? How does salt quietly hijack your health? It doesn't give you a stomach ache. It doesn't make you nauseous. There's no immediate red flag, and that's precisely what makes it so dangerous. Here's what excessive salt does beneath the surface. First, it raises your blood pressure. Salt pulls water into your bloodstream. More water means more volume, and more volume means more pressure against your artery walls. Over time, this constant strain leads to hypertension, heart enlargement, and vascular stiffness. 1 in 3 adults has high blood pressure, often without any symptoms, and salt is a major driver. Next, it damages your kidneys. Your kidneys are the master regulators of sodium balance in your body. When you consume too much, you force them to work overtime. This can lead to protein leaking into your urine, dehydration at a cellular level, and eventually, long-term kidney damage or even failure. And the scariest part? Kidney disease often doesn't show up until 80% of function is already lost. Salt's damage is silent until it's irreversible. It also alters your brain function. Excess salt increases the activity of your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. This means more anxiety, less ability to enter a state of calm recovery, and a reduced capacity to just wind down. It also increases the risk of stroke and has been linked to cognitive decline in aging brains. In effect, salt overstimulates you while slowly shrinking your bandwidth for peace. But what about the healthy salt myth? You're probably thinking, but I use Himalayan pink salt. That's natural. Let's be very clear. Yes, Himalayan, Celtic, and other sea salts do contain trace minerals. But those minerals are present in tiny, insignificant amounts. They do not offset the same sodium load. Your body still reacts in the exact same way, with increased pressure, thirst, and strain. It's like drinking organic vodka and calling it a detox. Minerals or not, salt is salt, and too much of it is a slow-acting toxin. This leads us to the salt-sugar-sodium trap, especially in so-called health foods. The food industry has done something brilliant and, frankly, sinister. They've masked excessive salt with buzzwords like keto-friendly, gluten-free, all-natural, and low sugar. But have you ever stopped to check the sodium label? A single protein bar can contain anywhere from 250 to 400 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly your entire day's recommended intake from just a snack. Healthy packaged soups, frozen acai bowls, even organic ramen. Some of them hit 1,000 milligrams of sodium in a single sitting. You may think you're eating clean, but you could still be accumulating dangerous sodium loads every single day. So, are these cravings or is it conditioning? It's a bit of both. Salt lights up the brain's reward centers much like sugar does. It activates dopamine, opioid receptors, and appetite-stimulating neurons. That's why you crave salty chips late at night. That's why you can't stop at just one bite. It's why you keep returning to salty snacks, even when you're not truly hungry. This isn't just about taste. It's a biochemical addiction created by the engineered levels of salt in processed food. And the more salt you eat, the more numb your taste buds become. That bland taste of real vegetables? That's what food is supposed to taste like. Before salt recalibrated your brain. You'll definitely hear the industry pushback. Arguments like, low salt is dangerous. It increases mortality. You need salt for hydration. Here's the real story. Those studies that show dangers of low-sodium diets often don't distinguish between low salt intake and low salt absorption, which is common in illness. They frequently include people with chronic conditions, where low sodium is a consequence of the illness, not the cause of it. And many are funded or heavily influenced by food lobby groups and the salt industry. Yes, too little sodium is dangerous, but for most healthy people, the issue isn't getting too little. It's getting far, far too much. And the food industry is fighting tooth and nail to keep you confused about that fact. What about athletes, electrolytes, and the overhydration myth? Don't athletes need salt? Yes, during intense, prolonged sweating, electrolyte loss needs to be replenished. But most people simply don't sweat enough to warrant it. They drink electrolyte drinks that have more sodium than they actually need, or they confuse caffeine-induced dehydration with a need for salt. Many use electrolyte supplements with unbalanced ratios, heavy on sodium and light on potassium and magnesium. The result? People with sedentary lives are chugging salt water for energy, taxing their heart, kidneys, and adrenals, all in the name of hydration. Salt doesn't give you stamina. It gives you a temporary push from your sympathetic nervous system, which comes at a long-term cost. The real hero of this story is potassium, the forgotten antidote. Your body doesn't just need less sodium. It needs more potassium. The ideal sodium to potassium ratio for optimal health is about 1:3, or even higher in favor of potassium. But in the average modern diet, it's flipped to 3:1 the wrong way, in favor of sodium. Why does this matter so much? Potassium helps balance blood pressure, supports cellular hydration, calms the nervous system, and reduces sodium retention. And where do you get it? Not from pills. You get it from whole foods. Bananas, sweet potatoes, avocados, spinach, beans, and coconut water. If you're eating a diet high in processed foods, you're overdosing on sodium and starving your body of potassium. And then wondering why your energy crashes and your blood pressure spikes. So, what's the solution? First, stop chasing flavor and start tasting your food. Salt masks the real, nuanced flavor of ingredients. Retrain your taste buds to appreciate the natural profile of food. It takes time, but it works. Second, read sodium labels, always. A healthy, frozen meal with 1,200 milligrams of sodium is 3 times the ideal amount for one sitting. Make informed choices. Third, cook more at home. Restaurant food, even from fancy places, is often a salt bomb. When you cook, you are in control. Fourth, focus on potassium-rich foods. It's not just about cutting salt. It's about rebalancing your minerals. And finally, if you do use salt, use less. A pinch, not a pour. Treat it like a potent medicine, not a seasoning crutch. Let's end with this final thought. Salt isn't evil. but its modern-day use is out of control. We weaponized it. We added it to everything, stripped away the balancing potassium, buried it in health foods, and sold it to ourselves as not just necessary, but beneficial in large amounts. Yes, salt is essential. But so is sunlight, and too much gives you cancer. So is water, and too much can drown you. Salt isn't the enemy. Overuse is. And your best defense isn't fear, it's awareness. If this video challenged what you thought you knew about salt, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you care about. Because real health doesn't come from seasoning your truth, it comes from reclaiming it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that helps you rewire your health.